guys, welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, hello, hi, my name is Jyotsna and I make book related videos on this channel. So anything related to books that piques your interest, please consider subscribing and watching this video till the very end. I am currently wrapping up my entire 2023 via the end of the year series. This is my third year doing it. If you're interested in checking out my top 10s from the previous years, please go ahead and check out the playlist in the description box. So the top 10 that we are going to be talking about today is regarding my non-fictional reads, which actually consists of political, historical and social non-fiction. It basically revolves around the books that I read throughout the year, and I've selected my top 10 books. I've already done it for fiction. I'm doing it for non-fiction currently. So if interested, again, links in the description box. The 10th book in the list is We Don't Know Ourselves by Fintan O'Toole, which is a personal history of Ireland, like for real. So basically the book talks about Ireland, and the author is an Irish journalist, and he was born in 1958 and he has seen a lot of things in his lifetime, a lot of, I would say, for the lack of a better word, cultural revolutions, because he talks about how there was the IRA and it was about weaving the identity of the people in Ireland, because a lot of them were moving out of Ireland to the UK and to the US for better opportunities, and how the country turned itself around. Now this was a very interesting read for me because it was a well-researched historical read about a very staunch Catholic society turning its head and becoming a more progressive one. Now, if you are interested in Irish history, if you're interested in the IRA, you've read about the IRA already, because I read this as a part of my booktube prize with the context of the IRA, because again, I read Patrick Radden Keefe. This is a very, very good and helpful read for you to understand the same. But otherwise, if you're not interested in Ireland at all, you can skip this book. The next book is Holy Hell by Gail Treadwell. This book is about Gail Treadwell, who is an Australian, and she was a part of a religious group and was serving Mata Amridanda Mai. She is a god woman in Kerala and she has a huge cult following, and she talks about all the nasty things that goes on in this cult. Now, I do want you to read this book because it kind of talks about the cult aspects, and if you love cults in general, then this is a good read because you'll understand through the journey of this Australian woman of how she got stuck in a cult for 30 years. But if you're just interested in the tea, this book actually spills a lot of tea, especially about god men and god women, and I just felt like, this book was really triggering in some sense, because the god woman that she's talking about here, she is actually a narcissist. I don't say it, the book says it. You can read the book for more information about her experiences. My only complaint with the book is that the writing is a bit dry, and of course that's like understandable because Gail Treadwell is not necessarily an author. She's just someone who is, putting out facts and the experiences that she's had in a certain group. But yeah, like if you want to know about cults and other associated things, then this is the book for you. The next book in this list is Ghost of the Tsunami by Richard Lloyd Parry. This book is specifically about the Japanese 2011 tsunami, which led to the Fukushima disaster. And it does not focus mainly on the disaster, but on the Okawa Elementary School and how, due to human negligence, a lot of lives were lost. I was led to this book because of a Netflix series called Unsolved Mysteries, and there is an episode which actually is named, Ghost of the Tsunami, and it talks about the after effects and the supernatural or paranormal things that people started experiencing after the tsunami. Although the book starts with this aspect of people and their paranormal endeavors in general, what it leads to is the political turn that the entire disaster took. I really like this book for its realism, for the interviews that were conducted, and also for the account of the parents who lost a lot of children. I would only recommend this book if you like reading on grief and death, and I do prefer reading on grief and death many a times. So yeah, like read it at your own risk, only if you're interested in the topic. Then the 7th book in the list is Haruki Murakami's What I Talk About When I Talk About Running. Now, for someone who is kind of trying to get into running since ages, but I have not been able to make any progress on that front because of my own fear and because of my own mental block. I feel that this book should be read by anybody who's trying to get into running. And honestly, this is not a guide or anything on sorts of how to get into running. It's just the author's experiences and why he runs. It's as simple as that. And you kind of see a very vulnerable side of Murakami in this book, which I really appreciate. I am not a huge fan of Murakami's fiction books, but this non-fictional one actually did steal my heart. I really liked how he was very candid about the entire ordeal he had to face when he started running and through his running journey, because he's participated in marathons and stuff as well. So I do recommend this book to anybody and everybody. It's a good icebreaker. It's a good book for your reading slump. Maybe if you're trying to increase your count on the non-fiction books this year, this is a breeze to read. The sixth book in this list is Surrounded by Idiots, and this is the only, I would say, corporate self-help book in this list. And the reason I picked it up is because of the psychological aspect. So what the book says is that it divides people into 4 colors, and it helps you identify which strength should you play into when you're meeting people, especially at work. It says that whenever we look at people, we end up judging them or calling them idiots, telling them that, oh my god, like this person is just an idiot and doesn't know how to get stuff done. But the point is, they just have a different personality as compared to you. And I like the 4 color concept because it's easy to understand, it's easy to digest on some level. And I also feel like I kept putting people in my life into certain colors, and I like that aspect that while you're reading the book, you're applying the book in your life as well. So I do recommend it if you're trying to understand psychology or if you're trying to understand people in a better manner. Now finally, let's get to the top 5, which is top 5 must read books out here. The book at number 5 is Dinners with Ruth by Nina Tottenberg. And oh my god, if you are a fan of female friendships, if you want to learn about women who actually have stayed friends over a really long time and want a warm hug in your life, this is the non-fictional book that you should read. Nina Tottenberg talks about the power of female friendships. She talks about her friendship with not only RBG, who was a famous Supreme Court judge, but also her friendship with her other colleagues, her other women in her life, and how it has changed her as a person. This is actually a pretty well written book. It is kind of a warm hug on a cozy day, something that you read with your coffee or your tea, and it kind of warms your heart because women friendships, female friendships are amazing, chef's kiss, and this book is a testament to the same. The book at number 4 is Behind Bars in Baikala by Jigna Bora. I really like this book, and of course now this book is kind of famous in Indian reading circles because of the Netflix series also that was released earlier. And I just felt like this book was heartbreaking, was the agony of waiting for justice in your life. This book is the proof of it. So if you do not know, Jigna Bora is a journalist, and she was wrongfully accused of killing another fellow journalist, and it kind of talks about her experiences while she was imprisoned and waiting for her trial and her name to be cleared. It basically talks about how it affected her personal life, how it affected her professional life, and how she changed as a person because she had to wait 11 years for justice to be served. The book is very approachable in general. It has good language as well. I really liked the way it was edited because again, it kept moving between her time in jail and her experiences as a journalist and everything leading up to there. So whoever is the editor of the book did a very good job editing it. Also, I really sympathize with the author for her experiences and for the pain that she had to go through, her family had to go through because she was wrongfully imprisoned. Let's get to top 3 because the book at number 3 is Mafia Queens of Mumbai by Jane Borges and Hussein Zaidi. So many people know about this book already because there's a Bollywood movie on it, on one of the stories in the book that is. And I absolutely love this book. This is something that got me out of a reading slump. It is easy reading. It talks about these powerful women in the Mumbai underworld, how they made a name for themselves, and also in some cases their downfall too. It talks about, of course, Gangubai Kathiawadi. It talks about Sapna Didi, and also like some other people that we might not know of. Really entertaining book, very informative in general. My only complaint with the book would be that I felt like a couple of stories were a bit shaky, or it was a bit low on energy. But honestly, this got me out of reading slump and I highly recommend it. And the book at number 2 is Paradise Falls by Keith O'Brien. I read this as a part of my booktube prize quarterfinals, and oh my god, such a brilliant read. This is how non-fiction or political slash social non-fiction should be written. The book basically talks about uprising of parents, certain mothers near Niagara Falls. So this area is called Love Canal, and how in the 70s there was a lot of toxic waste that was being dumped in children's playgrounds, and their children had a lot of infections, due to which nobody was helping them, the government was not helping them, and the company was not ready to listen to them, and how they actually sprung up, protested against it, and finally got their way. And honestly, I think the story is very unbelievable in general, but when I kind of listen to it, I realize that it is very difficult as a parent to see your children go through a lot of things, and you will go odds and ends to rectify the situation no matter what. I think the writing of this book was brilliant. It kind of reads in a story format, starting from the very start of how all of it started and how these parents came up with their plan to, go overboard with the entire protest. Lovely book. I really recommend it if you're looking for some environmental, political slash social nonfiction. You will really love it. And the book at number 1, my favorite nonfiction of 2023 is Personal Effects by Robert A. Jensen. And this book really, really captured me, and that is simply because it talks about how you can care for the living by caring for the dead, right? So Robert Jensen is mainly someone who has worked with I would say private organizations that are called upon when there is a crash or a plane crash that happens, and how the bodies are retrieved after the plane crash. And of course, he doesn't go into much details about his work, but he mainly talks about how can you help the living and how can you help the relatives of those perished in plane crashes or in certain unfortunate accidents. It basically says that, like, the dead are dead, you cannot do anything for the dead people, right, in that accident or in that unfortunate incident. But what you can do is make life better for the next of kin, for the relatives who are waiting for the news, for who are waiting for the next steps of this particular unfortunate incident. And I think it's very interesting. He talks about certain procedures, he talks about certain soft skills that you need to have in order to care for it. And of course, it's not in a technical way at all. It is a very, very heartwarming, not at all gory. Like, honestly, if you're scared of plane crashes and all, yeah, please stay away from the book. But otherwise, it kind of talks about the human to human connection and how humankind can survive by taking care of the living in case of too many people who die in an unfortunate incident. So yes, that wraps up my top 10 non-fictional reads. Do go ahead and check out my other videos. I also have a video for top 10 fictional reads. It's down in the description box below. If you love this video, please give it a thumbs up and consider subscribing. Thank you so much for watching this video till the very end. And yes, of course, wishing you a very happy new year, that finally we've completed all of this now. I am really excited. Thank you very much for watching all of the videos in this series. I'll see you in my next one. Bye.